That's where.
Yes, get around to this, you know. That's good. Yeah. No question. Yeah. I know just know about.
Perform by certain. In
the
room.
Looks like we do.
We had a good crowd in the house.
A good crowd, a good crowd.
I'm ready to go.
Now, is this the last one?
This is.
Great.
the last
Gregory was
one.
here.
I need to send you the public later.
Oh, okay.
So this is.
I call this meeting to order, regular scheduled meeting for Transportation Policy Committee at 12:30 on today's date, Thursday, January 22nd. It seems like it's been a long time, since last year. So we're all here together. I want to thank those that are joining us online and thank you all who are in attendance here today. So with that, we'll go ahead and have the roll call.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll start with Bullock County.
That's.
Thank you all. City of Charlestown. City of Jeffersontown.
Here.
City of Jeffersonville.
Here.
Hello, Andy. City of New Albany. City of Shively. City of St. Matthews.
Here.
New Bernie. Clark County. is here.
Here.
Thank you all both for joining us.
Yep.
Floyd County. NDOT Central Office. NDOT Seymour.
Haley's here.
Hi, Haley.
And Tony McClellan.
Hi, Tony.
Good.
Jefferson County League of Cities. Sure. The mayor. KYTC. Central Office. See you, Cedro. I think Cedro's
Yes,
out.
sorry about that. Thank
There
you.
he is. There he is. Anybody else from KYTC?
District 5, Town Hall.
Well, Tom. Anybody else join us? Okay, thank you two for joining us. Louisville Metro Government. Louisville Regional Airport Authority. Daryl said he had to miss today. He sent his sent Greg and I an email yesterday. Oldham County. Bo online. Bo, we see you. You there?
I apologize for that. Bo Glass, Judge Vogel's office.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Town of Foxville. Sure. Thank you, Kevin. And Clark.
Here.
Thank you, Aida. Our advisory members would include KYTC District 5. Tom, thank you again for joining us. And I think that's about it. I'm not seeing any other advisory members.
Really just turned to.
Hey, Steve DeWitt, KYTC Central Office, joined us as well. Thank you all for joining us today.
So we're good to go.
We're good to go. Definitely have a quorum.
All right. Well, then the next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes of the November 25th meeting that we held at the Jeffersonian. Any questions about those minutes? Have them there in your packet. If no questions, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes of the November 25th meeting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second? Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The minutes are accepted. Next is public comment period. And Greg, you got anything there for us?
We did not receive any public comments prior to the meeting, not seeing anything in the Q and A at this point, but if they come up, we'll bring up another business.
Yes, thanks. And your public involvement report.
Yeah. We didn't have a meeting in December. We do have a couple of things to go through. First up on is our website analytic numbers for November. In the month, our main page saw 219 visitors. Our tip page saw 146 visitors. And our MTP page saw 58 visitors. In December, main page saw 200. And our tip page saw 165. And the MTP page saw 86. Social media wise, for the month of November, our Facebook page did really well. 8 posts, 1,400 views, 959 impressions and interactions. X did 6 posts, 424 impressions. It's a little bit of a bump compared to October. And Instagram in the month of November, 8 posts, 1,700 impressions, 60 interactions. One thing to note on those interactions, that doubled our interactions based in October, so that was good to see. In December, obviously, we don't have as much going on, but we did start a public comment period, so that did help with these numbers, but we just don't have as much going on with the holidays. Still, like I said, really good numbers. 5 posts from Facebook, 1,500 views, over 1,100 impressions and interactions. X stays pretty steady, 4 posts, 416 impressions. And Instagram, we had a couple of posts on there, but we did have 200 impressions for those. So that's basically averaging about 100 for each and 4 interactions. As I mentioned, we had the amendment to our KIP, this tip and MTP. Crystal's going to be talking about that here in just a few moments. But I'll go through the outreach efforts we did for that. That ran from December the 29th through January 12th. Collected 29 comments and had 12 project likes. Started out a little slow, I think, because of the holidays, people getting back to work, but those comments kind of started coming in right after the first of the year, so that was good to see. Most commented project was the US 31 Clark Memorial Bridge project. Social media wise, paid numbers, you can see that. We had a couple of those go out, 3,000 reach, over 4,000 impressions. Organically, we had 1.5 thousand views. We have 2 emails campaigns that go out, over 1,500 recipients on both. We had 492 opens on the first one, the 105 link clicks. Second one did just do 389 opens, but did have more link clicks in those at 115. So that's good to see. What we heard. So these are some of the comments that came from the bridge project. One person was a little concerned that making it 1-lane southbound is going to hurt Indiana residents who rely on this bridge for a commute and will force more traffic onto the I-65 bridge. Most people that commented spoke about putting in multi-use paths and adding pedestrian blockage for that 1 lane that they're discussing. One person even created their own graphic here, as you can see. It was kind of a neat little thing there with multi-use paths with bike paths on each side, cutting those 2 lanes down to 10 feet each. Just thought I'd include that for. I thought that was pretty cool little thing that they added in on there. Some of the other comments we heard for the city of Prospect US 42 safety improvement project, they did not want to widen the road here, so they may make a center turn lane. Wait till the roundabout project is funded to do this. Don't do it twice. People concerned about the I-65 bridge project at Jacob and Broadway and wanting to make sure there's connectivity for pedestrians in Spoketown. We did have 11 comments collected on social media, most of those being about roundabouts. We had one that was for roundabouts and the rest of them were kind of arguing that they did not want roundabouts and were kind of tired of those projects getting put in, but it was interesting to see the back and forth a little bit there on that. Events and outreach. So in November, I don't know if I mentioned this at the meeting or not, but we hosted green drinks in conjunction with the Louisville Sustainability Council. And to kind of give you a little bit of background on this, so Louisville Sustainability Council will meet each month and they have just a little get together. And so last year, their focus was all transportation. So they reached out to us at the beginning of the year and said, hey, we'd love to have KIPTA out to come talk and present. So Andy joined me as well as Elizabeth Bowling Schiller, our Every Community Council Program Manager. We went out, it was about 20, 25 folks in the room, really good conversation, really engaged. They asked a ton of questions, really good questions as well. So that was really something to get involved in that I really enjoyed. It was something that we had not done before as KIPTA. I think Every Community Council had done it way back in 2019, but it had been a few years. So it's always one of the better events that we attended and really just a good thing. We also did the Middletown Chamber of Commerce nonprofit group, as well as the KAGC communicators meeting. I think that wraps up my report. I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Greg? Great, thank you for your public involvement report. next is item number 5. Just in time.
That's right.
Okay. I'll go ahead and turn this over to Keith. Got this, he was a member of our nominating committee. And I think he will have those recommendations for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The TPC nominating committee met and we are hereby nominating Deputy Mayor Nicole George as the vice chair of TPC.
Just a little bit, if I can add some further background, if that's okay. The TPC bylaws state that the highest ranking member of the KIPTA Board of Directors is to serve as the KIPTA Board of Directors Chair. And so this year, 2026, that's Judge Jerry Summers from Bullock County. So he will be serving, for those that might be wondering, as our 2026 TPC chair. Just like Commissioner Kaufman said yes to double duty, Judge Summers has said yes to KIPTA to do both. So we're glad to have Judge Summers' leadership and on that. So the nominating committee was simply meeting to nominate a vice chairperson. And also our bylaw, I apologize, Kevin. The chair and the vice chair our bylaws also state must be approved by the KIPTA Board of Directors. So I'll be taking whatever we decide here today to the KIPTA board here at 3:00.
So then we have a motion to nominate Ms. Nicole George as the vice chair of the TPC committee. Do we have any others?
I just second that motion.
Can you second it? Do I need a vote or a motion to approve the nominating committee recommendation for vice chair of Ms. Nicole George? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, sign. Motion carried. Congratulations, Ms. George. We're glad to have you on board with us. So that will close the nominations. And then, of course, Mr. Summers will be taking over for the February meeting. Glad to have you here. I actually thought my last meeting was already over, but I'm glad I'm here. So anyway, we thank you for both of you serving on our boards.
The start bylaws. The bylaws do say, by the way, that the first meeting of the calendar year, we were expected to nominate and choose a chairperson or chairpersons. So I apologize for the overlap.
That's no problem at all. And so we have followed the bylaws. So that takes care of item number 5.
Yes, sir.
Next up is item number 6. And this is the MPO dedicated funding adjustments. Brady has that for us.
A couple updates on dedicated projects for you. A few of them are just for your notice, and one of them will require an action. These first few involve Google Metro projects. In KIPTA's project management guidebook, it states that if we program funding for a phase and the project sponsor does not need to, when they go to authorize funds, that if they don't need all of the funds that we have programmed, it is within their purview to shift the unspent funds to a later phase of the same project if that additional cost is needed for a different phase. However, there are a few projects on here where Rural Metro only needed a portion of what we programmed, but there was no need for additional funding. That's true for these first 2 projects on the list here, KIPTA ID 1809 and KIPTA ID 2980. Both these projects only needed a portion of what we had programmed for STBG funds and CRP funds respectively. However, there's no need for additional funding. So therefore, the funding that was unauthorized will go back into the KIPTA pot to be reprogrammed in a future call for projects. The last project on here, KIPTA ID 2086, is the same scenario. Didn't authorize as much funds as programmed. However, the difference here is that this project did need additional funding. However, the need for the additional funding for this project was north $9 to $10 million. And so the remaining funds of around $1.4 million doesn't nearly cover that. So the $1.4 million that is unspent for that program phase for KIPTA ID 2086 will also go back into the CRP partner funds for reprogramming in a future call projects. And then one more from Louisville Metro is KIPTA ID 2116. This project authorized $480,000. We had programmed $826,000, so that's around $400,000 unauthorized that we have programmed. We're going to keep that the unspent funds in the name of this same project for now, in case a need arises as the project gets to further in the construction process. If it needs more funds, it'll have funds available for it. When we get to the next call for projects later this summer, if there has been at that time, if there's still no need for the additional funds, then the remaining extra funds will go back into the pot for the next call for projects. So this has kind of been in a waiting period for this project. Right. Another couple other tracking sheet adjustments to be aware of. There are two KOHC projects that over authorized some funds, so they actually inadvertently authorized more funds than the TPC had approved. We'd already talked about this with KYDC, and this has been rectified. So the numbers you see there for these two projects, $800,000 from fiscal year 25 funds for KIPTA ID 1879, and the $1.2 million for KIPTA ID 213, that has been swapped with KYDC state funds. So that this has not negatively affected our tracking sheet or programming for MPO dedicated projects. So those are all just notes for you to be aware of. This is the item that will require action. This is the Henryville Sidewalks Project, KIPTA ID 3180. Clark County currently has a construction phase programmed with KIPTA's Protect funds to the number of $520,661 in fiscal year 29. So that's what they currently have for this construction phase. However, recently they've received some additional state funds from NDOT to fund the utilities, construction engineering, and construction phases for this project in fiscal year 31. So that adjusts the project schedule to a later year. As a result, they can't use the $520,000 in fiscal year 29 to go towards construction lending because all the construction funding needs to be authorized at the same time. As a result, what they're requesting is there is need for some right-of-way funds, and fiscal year 29 would be excellent on the timeline to be able to acquire right-of-way at that time in preparation for fiscal year 31 lending. So the request here is to simply shift the funding of $520,661 from a construction phase to a right-of-way phase. Other than that, nothing else really changes. And action is requested on that last item.
Okay. So we need action on that. So you need a motion then to accept Mr. Brady Hill's report on that specific item.
Motion.
Got a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
A second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Brady. Now you have the cost increases on the next thing on our agenda number, item number 7.
Yes. So this is a Kentucky only item in regards to our STBG cost increase reserve. An announcement was made for cost increase requests on December 17th. KIPTA received several applications totaling over $15 million of requests. We only have $1.13 million available for the rest of fiscal year 26 for the cost increase reserve. So we've got a lot of requests, limited enough budget. In terms of the timeline of where we're at here, the STBG cost increase reserve requests are made formally every quarter, although there is, if you have an emergency cost increase request, they can be made at any time. this is the second opportunity of fiscal year 26 for cost increase requests to be made via this pot of money, this estimated dollars. You'll notice this is a list of all the requests we received. They're all KYC requests. So for several KYC projects, they were doing sponsors who request additional funds at this time. KYC is well aware that they asked for a lot more than there is available, but it's updating KIP staff and the TPC of the needs of some of these projects. So after discussion with KYC and at TTCC last week, the 4 priority requests have been identified of this list of requests are the 4 that you see here. There's a design phase for the US 42 project, a design and utility phase increase for KY 864, and some additional design funding for English Station Road. The reason these 4 have been prioritized by KYC and staff and TTCC is for a couple reasons. One, all 4 of them, we're able to fund all 4 of them with the budget we have available. And also they're all phases that are needed to help the project's continual progression. In other words, they can authorize the funds quickly to continue the projects to get them closer to a letting. Several of these other requests, they will need funding at some point in time, but are perhaps less important in the near future as opposed to future months or even years. So summarize, if you combine those 4 increased requests, if they were approved, that would be a total of $834,000 of STBG funds. That would, and if they were approved, that would leave just under $300,000 remaining for the rest of fiscal year 26 for other cost increase requests. Any questions about any of those projects?
Any questions? Okay, this is an action item, so I need a motion then to accept these cost increase requests. Do I have that motion?
Motion.
You have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Hill. Next is we got the fiscal year 2025-2028 Transportation Improvement Program and Connecting Indiana. And Chris has that for us.
Thank you. Got a couple of amendments to discuss today, and also MTP. Amendment 2, which is also known as MTP Amendment 11. That is one project list, cross-listed, and then we have TIP Amendment 3, cross-listed as MTP Amendment 12. 2 distinct lists of updates with 2 titles because of the numbering. We've talked about that before. Just so you all know, if anyone has any questions on that later. The links included in the meeting memo, and you might be able to go on the QR code here and use that to view both of the packets. So, why did we do 2 separate amendments? We don't normally do that, but we did it because of administrative reasons. We don't normally do that, but we did this time. The amendment 2/11 list is composed of only projects that did not affect the air quality modeling, and we are hoping to complete the final steps for the TIP-STIP inclusion a little bit sooner than the amendment 3/12 list. There's 23 project updates in amendment 2. I'm just going to say amendment 2 and amendment 3. There are 6 project updates in amendment 3. Not all of the projects in amendment 3 affect the model, but it just made sense to keep some of these grouped together because they relate to each other. Several of the updates come from a recent review that PIPTA staff did on MTP only projects that had open to public dates of 2025, 2026, or 2027. MTP only projects don't have TIP funding yet. And so with those early open to public dates, we checked with some of our sponsors to make sure that they want to still keep those in the plan and update those up in public dates. Both amendment project lists were reviewed by the IAC and underwent the same public comment period simultaneously. The TTC recommendation was approved on January 14th. And we plan to send the final packets to our federal partners following TTC. Let's see. We're anticipating Amendment 2 to be ready for the STIP updates a little bit ahead of Amendment 3, which will require a more thorough additional federal review. This is our standard amendment timeline. Amendments usually take about 3 to 4 months, but they can take up to 6 months, as most of you are aware. And this is our active amendment timeline for these amendments that we're reviewing today. We've completed all the tasks in black, and we just have the TPC action that I'll be requesting in this presentation, and also the federal review. Okay, and amendment updates. Most of you are aware, these are typically the updates that are ineligible for administrative modifications. Usually it is due to regional significance or the scale of the update, or in some cases, the potential effect on the air quality model. So first I'm going to go through Amendment 2, starting with the Indiana projects. We have 2 projects from Clark County. One is a new project for Bethany Road and CR 403 intersection improvement with a potential roundabout. As Craig mentioned, there's a few roundabout projects in here. We're updating the funding and the total project cost for CR 311 and Sellersburg improvement projects, also for Clark County. Then we have 3 projects in Floyd County that are MTP only projects. And as I mentioned, we're simply just moving the open and public date out a little bit farther. These are KIPTA IDs 2032, 2103, and 3075. And then we have one additional MTP only project from Floyd County. It's the Old Vincennes Road Phase 3. That one we are entering the TIP with local fees. More in Indiana, we have a new Albany project, the Mount Tabor Road, which is KIPTA ID 309. That one, we are removing the TIP funding. And then I have several NDOT projects. There is KIPTA ID 3194. That one is being removed. We have a new project of AASHTO software safety project. And this is kind of a 2-parter. We're creating a new parent project from KIPTA ID 3431. It's a safety improvement project. This one is going to have 1 child to the tip, and that is a specific roundabout within the greater project. It's at SR 62 and Utica Sellersburg Road. And then finally, NDOT's doing some added funding updates to KIPTA ID 2899, which is the I-64 added travel. And now I'll move to the Amendment 2/Amendment 11 Kentucky projects. We have Jeffersontown. We are removing and relinquishing the funding for KIPTA IDs 3110 and 3109. For KYTC, we are doing some funding and open to public date changes for 2 I-65 bridge projects. That's the bridge at Jacob, Broadway, and Gray, and also Brook and Muhammad Ali projects. Middletown, there is a South Madison Ave project. This project previously had a parent ID, and we are adding the project to the TIP at this point. And then I'm going to go to the Louisville Metro projects. We've got the River Road multimodal improvement from 3rd Street to 7th Street. That one, we're updating the total cost and adding construction and re-entering the TIP. Additional Louisville Metro projects, we've got two that we're removing from the MTP, they're only in the MTP right now. These are KIPTA IDs 3084 and 3095. What I'm told is that similar replacement projects are likely to be re-added to the MTP and hopefully to perhaps in the next amendment. We've got two on the Olmsted Parkways multi-use path sections, that's section 6 and 7. These are getting updates to the total cost and the open to public dates. And then moving to Oldham County, KIPTA ID 321 is a update to the total cost and tip funding. Got the Prospect Project, KIPTA ID 3082. This is an MTP only project as well. This one is just getting an update to the open public date. And then finally, a TARC project, it's a parent project of the section 5310s. This one is more of an administrative update to the funding and inclusion of the newest child project IDs that we recently added through administrative modification. Okay, so we're gonna take action on amendment 2 to the TIP, amendment 11 to the MTP first, and then I'll continue on with the other amendment.
So we need action to accept amendment number 2.
Sorry.
And if anyone has any questions first, we can take those too.
That one.
To
Okay, so this is amendment number 2, and then the MTP number 11.
Yes.
Okay, anybody have any questions? If none, sure you don't have any questions, because there's a lot to take in, okay? All right. So with no other questions, I need a motion then to accept the recommendation of the amendment of TIP 2 and the MTP 11. Have a motion, do I have a second?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
You have a second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? None? Motion carried. All right, thank you.
She's got a few more.
Now you got 3 more?
She's got another, she's gonna describe the projects in this next.
Okay,
Okay. There's one more project slide and stuff.
There we go.
Thank you. Okay, so now this is TIP Amendment 3, MTP Amendment 12. It's just a shorter list, 6 projects. So from NDOT, we've got KIPTA ID 2964. This is the SR 60 intersection improvement roundabout. We are updating the exemption status to non-exempt and adding to the model scenarios. That's the change there, nothing to the details or the funding. We have a Louisville Metro project, McNeely Lake Park Road and single-use path system, KIPTA ID 1823. This one we're removing because much of the work is already covered by KIPTA ID 2539, the other McNeely Lake Park project. KYTC, we have a few projects. KIPTA IDs 3165. This is the US 60 Long Run Road to Locust Park Place. This project, we're taking out and replacing it with a new project, US 60 Eastwood to Jefferson Shelby County line. Then we have KIPTA ID 2606. We are adding an existing MTP project to the TIP and updating the open to public date. And finally, we have that US 31 Clark Memorial Bridge project. This project recently was added to the TIP, I think in November as a maintenance group project. However, recent KYTC decision was to update the scope. And so we are removing that group ID and adding it to the MTP and it got the full treatment of the IAC and public comments at this point. So I'm gonna read the new description details, just so everyone is aware. So what we've got here is There's repairs and reconfiguration of Clark Memorial Bridge over the Ohio River, joint project with Indiana. Project includes lane reduction from 4 lanes to 3 lanes with 1 southbound and 2 northbound. And that's all I've got on those. If there's any questions, we can take them and then do the additional action.
Okay. So this is on the TIP Amendment 3. And it's also included in MTP 12.
Yeah,
Is that a separate?
because we have to add them to both documents, so it has 2 names.
Sorry, okay, so it's together.
It
So
can
did
be.
we do it together? Yeah.
Yeah, we did the last one together. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, okay. So this is an action item, so I need a motion then to approve the amendment to TIP number 3 and the MTP 12. I have that
Motion.
I have a motion here,
Second.
and I have a second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hopefully that's the most confusing amendment. You don't have to have the more
Yeah,
confusing
it's gonna
amendment.
be a
than
little
that.
more straightforward.
I like the way Chris starts out. This is normally not done this way, but here we go. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Chris. All right, next up is item number 9, connecting Kentuckiana 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan Goals and Objectives. Mr. Hill.
KIPTA's current MTP or Connecting Kentuckiana 2050 was formally adopted by the TPC in May of 2023. This involved a robust stakeholder involvement process in order to form the goals and objectives of our current long-range plan. Our new MVP, not MVP, MTP, of which our MVP recently left to California. He announced that we started the process a few months ago, but we're still in the process of developing the new long-range plan. We are doing kind of behind the scenes, a lot of socioeconomic analysis, as well as taking these first steps towards the remainder of the plan, that is to establish the goals and objectives of our new long-range plan. This new MTP will have the same horizon year as our current MTP, that is the year 2050. In the opinion of KIPTA staff, the realities of the KIPTA region, the goals and objectives set within the KIPTA region are not significantly different than they were 3 years ago, at least not different enough to reinvent the wheel to necessitate a full revamp of KIPTA's long-term goals and objectives. If we're headed towards the same horizon year as we were a few years ago, hypothetically, our goals and objectives should probably be pretty similar to what this group approved fairly recently. So with that rationale, KIPTA staff has proposed a new set of goals and objectives that are listed in your packet under this agenda item. There's a draft of what the proposed goals and objectives are for the new MTP for your review. I'm going to go through them with you in just a minute and highlight some of the changes that are proposed. But there aren't very many changes proposed. The main things that are different from this draft that's in your agenda, as opposed to what we currently have in the MTP, are to meet recent federal requirements and executive orders that have asked to require to avoid certain criteria within the federal project evaluation and development process. Some of these terms and topics include climate change, environmental justice, equity, and sustainability. So the proposed goals and objectives here are very similar with some adjustments in order to meet federal requirements. Okay, so the first goal here is safety. Increased safety for all users is what the current goal says. The only change here is just a slight clarification to say increase safety for all users of the transportation system. All the other safety objectives under this goal are identical to the current NTP. If anyone has any questions as I go through these, feel free to ask as well. The second proposed goal is an adjustment. Our current goal is sustainability, to invest in sustainable transportation that protects environmental resources and minimizes the effects of climate change. The proposed goal as a replacement is stewardship, to minimize transportation related fuel consumption, air pollution, and sensitive area impacts. What KIPTA staff have tried to do in some of these reorientations of these goals and objectives to still meet some of the same intentions as the TPC is to focus on federal priorities and programs that are currently in existence, such as the CMAQ program, Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality, that puts federal dollars towards improving air quality by reducing congestion. So that's a potential way to improve sustainability in terms of air quality for our region, is to minimize fuel consumption and improve air pollution. There's also federal requirements related to NEPA evaluation that considers environmental impacts, architectural impacts, cultural impacts of our transportation decisions. So these kind of ideas were formulated in how we are phrasing and placing these goals and objectives. Objective C in this list under stewardship combines two current objectives. The current C and D of our current MTP is combined into this new objective C. Objective B combines two current objectives, the current A and B, into a new one for this new MTP objective. And yeah, as I said, these kind of focus away from climate change to sustainability and more towards environmental protection and air quality improvement. Next goal here is accessibility. This is a replacement for the current goal of equity, foster an accessible and equitable transportation system. The new goal states accessibility, foster an accessible and fair transportation system. One objective has been removed from the list of what was equity and is now accessibility because it was redundant. We have the same objective in under the stewardship goal and under the accessibility goal, and while that's not really a problem, it's also not really necessary to have the same objective under two goals. The other four objectives under this goal remain largely the same with some slight adjustments. KIPTA previously had our environmental justice areas that we used for certain criteria. And we now have our transportation impact areas, which use a different variables in its criteria of determining what is a transportation impact area. And so those have been implemented in this new objective, in these new objectives under accessibility. Next goal is economic development. The current goal listed in your packet is exactly the same as our current MTP. Objectives A, C, and D are also exactly the same. Objective B substitutes the term sustainable for reliable. And once again incorporates KIPTA's newly approved transportation impact areas. Next one is an effective roadway system. Current goal, exactly the same. All of the other goals, all of the other objectives are also exactly the same, except for objective C adds per capita. I'll read objective C here, so they're on the same page here for effective roadway system. Stabilize and decrease vehicle miles traveled per capita. The reason for doing that is we want economic development. We want people to move here and work here and to have activity. So if we have vehicle miles traveled decrease at a non per capita level, that could affect what our economic development goals is. So by having a per capita analysis that makes both goals work together, I guess, having an effective roadway system and having economic development in our region. Next goal is strengthen public transit. Current goal is exactly the same as what is listed here. All the objectives are also exactly the same. Expand active transportation. Once again, goals are exactly the same, objectives exactly the same. And a resilient region. Current goal is once again exactly the same with some. There are some adjustments in the objectives. Objectives A, B, C, D, and E are all the same, but objective F, it discusses the need for system redundancy, but also adds the need for alternative forms of transportation as a means to increase system resiliency. So it adds alternative forms of transportation to that goal. Objective G pivots from a climate change focus towards natural disaster mitigation and extreme weather events preparedness. Any questions about the goals and objectives or just the general rationale? Yes.
Did you cover the reliable freight network?
You know what? I don't know if I had
Were there any changes?
I don't think they had a slide on that, but I'm pretty sure there are not any changes here. Sure.
Don't believe there were. Nick, you don't remember, do you?
There's, I don't think there's not any changes to those objectives or the goal. There could potentially be a change to the performance measures and how we measure some of those objectives, but that's later down the road.
Right.
The goals and objectives are the same.
Any other questions? Of course, this is an action required and everything, so I need a motion then to accept the Metropolitan Transportation Plan goals and objectives. To have that motion.
So moved.
Second? Second? Any other questions?
Got one quick comment, just so everybody knows, it wasn't at the TTCC meeting the other day or last week. We offered it to them to say, hey, would you like to, let these marinate for a month and then come back? But the TTCC unanimously said, no, these are good as is. So that, just want to add that conversation.
Okay. Anything else? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Thank you. Next item on our agenda is the federal certification review data. You have that for us, Andy?
I sure do. Those who've been around a while, you'll know what I'm talking about here, but for those that are new and for those that don't remember, every 4 years, large MPOs, KIPTA is amongst them, we're known as Transportation Management Areas, TMAs. We get a thorough checkup from Federal Highways and Federal Transit and EPA, our federal partners, known as what we call the Federal Certification Review. Our last Federal Certification Review was in or around June of 2022, and therefore we're up this year for another review here in our region. Federal Certification Review is not necessarily a direct review of KIPTA staff or even the TPC, one could say. It's a review of the metropolitan planning process in this region, and there's no more important monthly version of that than what happens at this table every month at the TPC. And so that date or that meeting or that review is scheduled. We're going to host it in early May, so hopefully everybody can pencil it in on their calendars. It's likely to be on May 6th and 7th, Wednesday and Thursday, May 6th and 7th. The day one is likely to be a full day here, probably in this boardroom, should be in this boardroom here, where our federal partners will interact with us, staff, as stakeholders. Here at KIPTA, talking about the planning process, they'll review things like our TIF, our MTP, our amendment process, kind of things we administer here. What's our work program look like? What are the various requirements of metropolitan planning? And then that will move on to offsite to a public meeting, a public hearing. And so, we've got a site in mind, and a likely site, but I don't want to tell anybody wrong, so we'll stay tuned on that one, just before we tell somebody, the wrong time or the wrong place. And then on the second day, our federal friends and partners will come back to KIPTA, and they will deliberate for a little while, and they will provide, probably staff with, and anybody that wants to join us from the TPC and otherwise, with some preliminary findings. What did they find? And those that have been around a while, you may remember, those findings typically come in the form of a long report eventually, but probably as important as anything, the commendations, right? Hey, you're doing a great job, keep it up. The recommendations, hey, you might want to see check how others are doing it, and look into this, look into that, but nothing too bad, perhaps. And then corrective actions, commendations, recommendations, corrective actions. Corrective actions say, hey, go fix this by this date, otherwise we won't certify you, or we'll no longer certify you. So that's what we got on our plate, and I think, and I believe we're in good shape, and we will be working with Federal Highways, both Kentucky and Indiana. Tanya Higdon, I think, Tanya, are you still on the line? Tanya will be likely be coordinating that for the Kentucky Division of Federal Highways. Tanya, is there anything you'd like to say about it? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. I appreciate the time. I know there's some effort here in the coordinating component of things. No, I think what you said is on point, and we're going to be working towards having this meeting, and it's really a good chance for everybody to kind of digest all that KIPTA does. They've done a great job in the past, and we just work forward to make things a little bit better. That's usually the goal of these things here, and I don't really see anything at this moment, but that's part of the process. That's part of the review of the different entities involved, to kind of dive a little deeper into certain areas. But yeah, if you're willing to join, have time to join, it's a great way to see all the things that KIPTA does, because there's a lot more to it that maybe than you just realize here on the front. But thank you very much. Yes, we're coordinating with all of our federal partners that'll be in attendance.
Good. Thank you, Tanya. Several times, iterations of this, we've hosted that day 2 that I mentioned would be on the Thursday. That is the TPC day. We'd get the preliminary findings at the TPC meeting, but this one will be a little bit different. It won't be on a TPC day, but we want to make sure that everybody will be invited. But you will hear, this is not the last time. It's far from the last time you hear about this thing as we ramp up to early May. So remember, May 6th, May 7th, our certification. That concludes our report.
Thank you, Andy. Next up is item number 11, administrative modifications to the fiscal year 2025-2028 transportation improvement program. Chris.
You again. Right. So I have 2 administrative modifications to talk about, but they each just have one name because they're only to administrative modifications. Or at least only tip updates. Okay. So I'm gonna cover the project updates that were deemed eligible for these admin mods since our previous TPC meeting. As a reminder, we don't need TPC approval, so this is going to be an information only communication. Drafts of both administrative modification 7 and administrative modification 8 included in your packets. However, there is one Louisville Metro update that I'm going to add to administrative modification 8 this week. That one has not been sent to the highway departments for the STIP updates yet. Administrative modification 7 was emailed to the TPC members, and also it previously was submitted for the STIP inclusion on December 9th of last year. So KIPTA has specific policy guidelines for our administrative modifications. As you know, they're a little bit different than our amendment policy guidelines. Administrative modifications are an expedited mechanism geared towards more of the minor project updates. I'm going to get into admin mod 7 first. I have a INDOT project skip the IV 3155, SR 60 intersection improvements. That one is getting a construction funding update. Then in Jeffersontown, the IV 2619, the Reputable Sidewalk Improvement Project, that one is just taking a open and public date update. And then for Louisville Metro, the IV 2594, Stony Brook Drive Sidewalk Improvement or Sidewalk Project. That one's an open to public date update. And then KYTC, there's two bridge projects, I-6 bridge projects that are getting tip funding updates, IVs 3115 and 3206. Okay, so next administrative modification 8, Wood County IV 3458, that is their 2026 to 2029 Bridges project. That one's getting a update to tip funding. And then also KIPT ID 1558, the Bridge 51 project, update to tip funding. Next, KYTC US 42, KIPT ID 3460. Also the state ID I'm gonna give because we have a number of projects called US 42. That's 5-9077. That one's an update to tip funding. And then we also have the Reconnecting West Louisville to Ohio Riverfront update of tip funding, and I want to point out that there is a typo in the packet to that one. That one is eligible for administrative modification because we previously did have the total project cost in the $30 million range, and we're just adding the other funding phases to the programming now. But in the typo, I kind of just copied and pasted, so it looks like it's taking a huge increase, but it's not actually. That's just a mistake that I'll fix in the final draft. And then the project that I'm going to add, I have highlighted here in this slide. It's the Louisville Metro project, Shelby Park and Smoketown traffic calming, safety and connectivity. That one, we are, came in late, otherwise I would have put it in the packet. We're moving some of the community funding, community project funds from design to construction, because they, I was told they need a little bit more in the design phase, so we're just shifting the funding around. It's not getting any additional funds at this time. And, I don't have any action on this. I'm going to send you all the final draft of administrative modification 8 before I send it out to INDOT and KYTC for the STIP updates. So I've got there.
That's it.
Yep.
Thank you, Chris. Next is the annual listing of projects. Do we have that list? Okay.
So this is the ALOP presentation. What is an ALOP? Annual listing of obligated projects. This is the 2025 version. Which projects? I want to make that clear first. So this is all the projects within the metropolitan planning area boundary that had federal obligations in the year 2025. So that's MPO dedicated projects, but also projects with other federal funding. Why are we doing this? We are required to produce a listing within 90 days of the fiscal year end and also make that available online, required by FHWA and FTA. As y'all are aware, Indiana's fiscal year ends first. So we had that completed several months before, but I now have the full ALOP, and so that is why I'm presenting it again today. It's on the tip page as well as in the meeting packet or your meeting budget. Okay, so I'm going to start with the summary of 2025 in Indiana, Clark County. This is their obligations. We had about $28.4 million. Lloyd County, we had $118 million. And then in multi counties, each year we get some that are in both Clark and Floyd County in Indiana, so that's what multi is. That's $12.2 million. So that gives us a total in Indiana of $158.7 million obligated in 2025. In Kentucky, Bullitt County had $9.2 million. Jefferson County had $328.5 million of obligation. Oldham County, 2.7. So in Kentucky, we had a total of $340.5 million of obligated projects that year. And then finally, the transit, there was $46.4 million obligated. So the complete total of within the full metropolitan planning area for 2025 was $545.6 million of obligations. And that is a large number, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so overall, our region obligated substantially more funding in 2025 than it did in 2024. Have a summary of 2024. I'm gonna try to zip through this, but I did think it was worth pointing out the difference. Clark County, 2024, it was $43.4 million. Floyd, 62.6. That multi-county line item, that was a little over $1 million. So the Indiana total was $107 million of obligations. Bullitt County, 17.7. Jefferson County, 65.6. Oldham County, 12.7. The Kentucky total was $96 million, a little over $96 million. The transit was 38.6. So the complete total for 2024 was $241.8 million obligated. And then the difference, Clark County was down a little under $15 million. However, Floyd County was up $55.4 million, and the multi-county was up a little over $11 million. Indiana total is up $51.6 million. Bullitt County was down 8.5. However, Jefferson County was up $262.9 million. Oldham County down $10 million. Kentucky total overall was up $244.4 million. And then the transit is up 7.79. The complete metropolitan planning area difference between 2024 and 2025, we are up $303.8 million. A lot of that, we can only speculate. A lot of that is just the timing of the bridge obligations, predominantly in Kentucky, and it's not going to be the same. We can't expect this much of an increase for 2026, but that's what I've got. And I get these figures. We get the list from both of the state departments of the obligations, and then we cross-reference that with our records, and that's how it works.
Yes.
No action on that one.
Okay, well, thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Any other questions for Chris? All right, thank you. Next is the MPO Director's Report.
Yes, I think I'm gonna recognize a few folks today. First, I want to recognize the folks that joined us after the roll call. Make sure everybody gets their full attendance points, Brian Davis from Louisville Metro Planning. Brian, thank you for being here. Tanya Higdon from Federal Highways. We talked to her earlier. Thank you again, Tanya. From Oldham County, Jim Silliman. From Louisville Metro, Deputy Mayor George, thank you for being here. Mike King, Mark Knoll, and Flannery O'Neill. Flannery's with Louisville Metro APCD. Flannery, by the way, is our incoming TTCC vice chair for the new year. So, Planner, thank you for being here. From KYTC, we have Matt Bullock, and Tracy Lovell, also online. Nick Creevy from Floyd County. And then from NDOT, we have Kathy McAuliffe and Julie Feltner. So thank you all for being here today. We got a big crowd. I think by my count, we had 14 out of our 18 voting members, and a couple said that why they couldn't be here. So thank you all for.
We have, someone raising their hand, Sean Spencer. That's in the audience.
Would you like to take this question or comment?
Does he have a comment? Yes, we could take it.
Sean, you are allowed to speak, so you can unmute yourself. Can't hear you. Oh, there you go.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to say I'm Sean Spencer from the city of Shavli.
Oh, thank you for joining us.
I sent an email to Ashley as well, but yeah, sorry. I don't know. I clicked on the wrong link.
Well, that's great news. We have 15 instead of 14 member agents representing here today. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Moving on. I have a bit of a sad note to share. This morning, Kipta legend passed away. A gentleman named Jim Thrasher. For those of you that have been around Kipta for a long time, you probably would recognize Jim. Jim retired from Kipta in 2014. And not too long after he retired from Kipta, he had some health issues. And he passed away early this morning. Jim was a jack of all trades here at Kipta. I think he started, if I'm not mistaken, he started as a draftsman at Kipta, or not even at Kipta. If I'm not mistaken, he started at the our predecessor agency over in Indiana, Falls, Ohio Council of Governments, if I'm not mistaken. He was around Kipta for 40 plus years, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he started Kipta in the 70s. Again, he retired in 2014, and he passed away this morning after a prolonged illness. So he's one good one for sure. For sure, we'll get to definitely miss him. Couple more recognitions. At last week's TPCC meeting, we recognized our outgoing chair, and I want to recognize her again today because of her retirement. She'll be retiring soon. Ms. Aida Kovic is retiring from TARC here shortly, and I just wanted to recognize her in front of the Kipta TPC. And thank you for being such a friend to Kipta and such a playing a meaningful part of transportation here in our region for so many years. Thank you.
I really appreciated this. KIPTA organization is amazing, and all the members that participate in the process. So I'm humbled and honored to be part of that.
Well,
Thank you
so
very much.
Thank you so much. And then last but not least, we need to we've got an outgoing chairman this is his last meeting today. So I want to recognize Commissioner Jack Kaufman for his service to the KIPTA TPC this past year. I think we've had just a real nice smooth year of meetings. There's no doubt about it. I feel like we've been not on cruise control, but look at the attendance we have in here, and we've got the participation and such good leadership, and we appreciate your leadership. And KIPTA has got you a token of our appreciation. It's a monogram little slugger, so you can go leave the slugger field this year with your name and your recognition.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
That concludes the MPO Director's report.
Well, thank you, Andy. Is there any other business? If not, I want to thank you all as a group. Love your attendance, and like today was nice. It was nice to see so many people attending here and online. So thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to serve, and look forward to that. I'm still on the board of directors for KIPTA, so I'll still be hanging out there. But this is starting my 14th year as county commissioner. So it's been a blessing, and I've been here at KIPTA the whole time. So thank you all very much, and just ask for blessings to be upon, this organizations and everything that we just follow and always seek ye first the kingdom of God. So thank you all very much. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second? Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye. We are officially adjourned. Thank you all very much.